Hi there. My name is William Brennan. I started this blog to see if there's anything I can add, to help people who are in the art world or want to start in the art world and needs a little bit of assistance in getting going. There's this sort of fallacy that, like, famous artists have this ability just to draw whenever they want, and the rest of us just struggle with it. I've discovered just from practice and from struggling myself that there's a few tricks that help people get going, no matter what field they're in. I could see art kind of manifesting itself in other real world problems, like trying to solve a engineering structural problem, or just anything that you have your mind set to go and do. There is ways to kind of motivate you and get you started on that path. And I just wanted to talk about one small way, and that's using materials as the inspiration for some of your projects, and just letting the materials speak to you and drive forward your ideas. There's this Platonic idea of idea formation, the perfect ideal entity or concept that was thought about thousands of years ago, that plays its role today, even though we know more about neuroscience and the abilities of our brains to look at patterns and bring out ideas and develop them than that the ancient Greeks had any clue about. But there's one sort of thing that I've kind of thought about and think that might be a true sort of process that most artists and most humans through time have probably used as their way to come up with ideas. And it's basically looking at patterns in nature that kind of manifest ideas in us. And it's as simple concept as just looking at an organic form and just letting your mind kind of go blank and read whatever you see in that pattern. And I think that's a possibility of where ideas got generated, thousands of years ago, or tens of thousands of years ago with the first strokes on a cave wall. I'm wondering if those cave people were looking at the stones that are there and just letting that idea manifest while they were drawing those paintings in Lascaux. And it kind of works the same with all other patterns when you're looking for things, and in even your everyday ideas that kind of come to mind. We're not living in a vacuum, and there's always a context in the background that help us and drive us to see ideas and to bring out ideas. And I'm using them to prevent artist block. I just use patterns that I see in nature to drive my paintings, and I'm using that Platonic idea of idea generation being inherent in the materials. And it's as simple as, for me, like I mentioned, I look for patterns in nature that, with my background in architecture and art, inspire me to kind of go a certain direction and drive my artwork. And it sounds very abstract right now, and it's as simple as, over the last couple of years, I was using materials and bringing them together to kind of create a form. And it started off with using materials I found on the street and bringing them together, and then this inspiring me to use other materials that created a narrative in the drawings, in the paintings, and just this back and forth between the materials and the idea. And I can show you a couple examples of what I'm talking about. It's a fairly simple thing. I'll just bring out some pieces and just show you the evolution of the idea as it kind of got worked through. And I'll just start with some of the basic stuff that I did originally, and it became a more and more complicated, more and more involved process of and larger scales of bringing these pieces to life. And that's basically what I'm seeing as doing. I'm not creating anything that's not there. In my mind, it's there when it evolves. So I'll show you a couple of the baby pieces, I guess it is, where the idea kind of got started. It's probably not a novel idea. I'm sure Plato had this concept too, and he thought, hey, where are these ideas coming from? Maybe it's right in front of me, maybe it's in nature, but I'm talking on a visual level. If you're stuck, frozen, trying to draw something, put the painting in the context of another context, an idea involved in another context, and sometimes it's just as strictly as the materiality, and it will drive your ideas forward. It's almost an effortless thing if you just let yourself go. Sometimes even if you're tired and you just want to let it go, if you just start, the context of the material will take over and the ideas will flow. And it's a basic sort of process that you have to kind of go through just to discover, oh my God, just let your mind open and anything you draw will come out. Any idea you have, it won't even be possible to stop your ideas from flowing out, if it's done with the context of the materiality of what you're working with. So a lot of my paintings and drawings and sculptures, they're actually letting the material talk. I think in my architectural background, that is a driving idea. We're always having a program that kind of drives the form. The materials drive the form, but it's really a really liberal thing with painting and drawing and sculpture. It's on just that level of just letting those ideas flow back and forth between the material and what you drew, letting that develop and start over again. And I'll just show you what I'm talking about. It's a very simple idea, and I'll go get a couple of pieces and we can just kind of go over the starting point and how this evolved into other things. So hold on, I'll be back in a sec. This is new for me, so I'll just put you on pause. Thanks.